Hi, this is Teresa Mungai. I'm a mother to one boy. He's almost 3 now. Now, my experience with breastfeeding. For me, that was the best experience in my life, other than bringing forth a healthy baby. You know, when they tell about breastfeeding, they say that is the point for mother and the child to bond. And I remember from the word go, I consider myself blessed. I had stories of mothers sharing their painful stories of their children having difficulty latching. And you know, we're usually told on delivery that the first feed for a baby is very important. That first colostrum that the breast produces is very important for a kid. So I remember I was very worried about it. I used to hear stories. I had a relative who hadn't breastfed the kid because the baby just couldn't latch, the nipples of flat and everything else. But for me, I was fortunate enough. I remember for me, I started producing colostrum weeks before I even had my son. So when my baby was born, I already had the milk. I had already prepared myself for breastfeeding. So God was faithful. My baby was able to latch. And I can never say or emphasize enough that feeling, that bond when you feel your little one feeding from you. You're feeding life, you're feeding health. Whatever nutrients that you have is what you're giving your baby. So that was a plus for me. I actually miss it sometimes. I actually miss it so much. Then there was a downside for me, a very big downside. I realized that even if you're considered, you have plenty of milk and everything else, it can still be a danger. Because I had one little baby, and I had a lot of milk. So remember, there was this night I was feeding healthy. I had plenty of milk. My breast was swollen up. I had already fed my son. He was already full, but my breast were hard like a rock. So much pain, but I didn't know about it. So I was in the house. I was feeling so cold. Yeah, it's like my body had frozen up. So I just called my mom. I was with my mom then, and I called my mom and I asked my mom, "Hey, mom, you need to add me a blanket. I feel like I'm going to die because of the cold." Only to realize that that is a condition that, if not taken care of, you could actually call it some. I think it was mastitis. When you have so much milk in your breast that they feel like stones. And I remember we spent like 2 hours of that night just putting hot clothes, really hot clothes on the chest, so that it could just liquefy the milk, get you kuka in those. It's like a solid, and we had to spend the rest of the night expressing. And I'm telling you, that was the worst kind of pain I have ever felt. And from that day, I learned the importance of expressing, of course. But that was the downside for me. The other downside for me, it's a bittersweet kind of thing. When now my son was teething, they use your nipple as a teether. So whatever it is they need, they scratch it with you. Now the thing with that is that they could crack your nipples, and it's very painful. At times, even with cracked nipples, you're feeling pain, but you have to feed your kid. And at times, even the milk comes out with blood because of the sores. So that is a downside. I only got to experience that once, but I have relatives and friends who went through that for months, and it was painful. They would even breastfeed in tears. But all in all, it's just like when they say the pain of child delivery. The pain in childhood delivery is very painful, but the minute you see your baby, it's worth it. You forget about it. So for me, even if there was a bit of pain when breastfeeding, But when I look into his face, just the way his face lights up, the look on his eye, how bright they are, how much they're enjoying, you know, it just gives you comfort. You just say to yourself, it's worth it. Your baby is healthy. You're feeding your baby. You're bonding with your baby. And I remember for me, I breastfed for 2 good years. For 2 good years, and I really miss it, by the way. But anywho, so that was the down for me. But for the cons are lesser than the pros. Cause those are the best moments you get to share with a kid. Even when they teach you how to before you're discharged from maternity, they always make sure that you know how to latch the breast well, the baby is feeding well, and everything else. So when you stare into your baby's eyes, that connection is not one that you can forget. There's just a bond that builds between a mother and a child through breastfeeding. And for me, I feel like that is the best gift that was given to a woman when it comes to raising your children. That bond, for me, that is amazing. And at times I feel pain for women who are not able to do that for their kids, because that is also another struggle with it that comes with it. But people need to realize the importance of breastfeeding in such a way that it has been insisted that even HIV positive moms exclusively breastfeed their kids for 6 good months. That just goes far by showing how important breastfeeding is. But the best parts of it always cover the pains of it. It doesn't last for long. It's pain that is worth it. Another thing I'd personally like to add is that, like I had mentioned earlier, breastfeeding is the best part, is the best thing that happens to a mother. And if there are other people I feel really need to be appreciated, and those are maybe 2 or 3. There is one, a mom who just delivered a kid and the baby never came out, or was a stillbirth, or lost the baby on delivery for one thing or another, and they're never able to breastfeed. Just as people appreciate women for successful deliveries, how people sympathize with women who are struggling with loss and everything else. There are women who want to breastfeed, but they are not able to because of some unavoidable circumstances. So these are women who really need to be appreciated and supported, yes, because there are those who voluntarily choose not to breastfeed, yeah, because of the body change that comes with breastfeeding. And one thing women need to understand is whether you breastfeed or not, your body is going to change, your breasts are going to change. So that is the part of you that you're supposed to embrace the most. Because when you look at your body change and you feel like, oh my, I'm still young, look at the way I look. But then you see your little one there, happy, healthy, fulfilled, with all the best nutrients that can come from you. That is a lot to be thankful for. So I'd urge women also to embrace that part of them. There is a reason why those 2 breasts are there. There is a reason why they produce milk. Yes, at times I ask myself, if animals are able to breastfeed, why is it so hard for some of us to intentionally purpose not to breastfeed? Because that is how nature was created. That is the bond between a mother and a child. Other than that, we need to support those who are unable to do that because of unavoidable circumstances. Because I've seen a few and they really struggle. They even ask you till now, how does it feel? Yes, how does it feel for a baby to feed from you, for a baby to latch? And they wish they would have experienced that. So women need to embrace such people and not judge them and not say, no, you didn't try, no, you were scared of the pain. No, some of them tried, they went through the pain, they persevered it, and didn't breastfeed. So for that week, for this breastfeeding week, I'd really like to appreciate such women